Okay, so hi guys, it's Amy. I know this is completely out of character, but I've had a YouTube channel for 10 years now and I've never made a Q&A. I've been trying to build my confidence over the last year or so, making little vlogs for my patrons on Patreon, and I finally decided, was it last week before last, that I wanted to make a Q&A for all of you on YouTube. So I posted a poll and quite a lot of you got back to me to say that yes, you wanted me to answer your questions. So today, because I get a lot of the same questions, and I've been getting a lot of the same questions asked for about 6 years now, I thought that better late than never, I would answer those frequently asked questions, and then I will answer all the questions that you very kindly commented and asked on the poll. How long have you been playing for? It'll be 25 years in December. So I started playing when I was 7. You can do the maths from there. I'm not going to tell you how old I am. Hey bub, do you want to be in the video? You want to come up? Do you want to come up and be in my video? Come on, make up your mind. I've got questions to answer. What kind of harp is that? This harp is my main harp. It's a Line & Healy style 30. It's a harp made in Chicago in the USA, and her name is Isabella. She is coming up for 20 years old. How many strings does it have? So this is a full-size concert harp. It has 47 strings, which is the maximum as far as I know. I think there are some kind of custom harps, maybe I've heard of one that has like a few more strings than that, but that's basically the maximum. And it's pretty much the same range as a grand piano. There's just a little missing on the harp at either end, at the top end and the bottom end. Is the harp really hard to play? Personally, I think all instruments are really hard to play if you want to play them really well. So I don't think the harp is especially hard. It's certainly not the most difficult instrument ever, which a lot of people seem to think it is. I think it's just about as difficult as anything else if you want to do it really, really well. How do you tune that thing? Let me just... I've got one of these. Can you see that? It's a tuning key. So that's how you tune a harp, with a tuning key. There's a tuning pin, which is like a metal post attached to every single one of the strings, and you tune each string individually, which sounds like a massive ordeal, but honestly, it takes 5 minutes. You tune it with a tuning key. How much do you need to practice to play like that? How much I practice depends on how much time I have and what I'm working on that needs practicing. The most I've ever practiced was 4 hours a day, and that was when I was a master's student and I was dedicating all of my time just to practicing and playing. While I was a student, the most valuable lesson that I learned about practicing is that it's the quality of the practice that you do rather than the quantity of the practice that you do that makes a difference. If you have 4 hours and you need 4 hours, then great, but if you don't have 4 hours, you have to make the best use of the time you possibly can by practicing as efficiently as you can. And if you need more time because you have loads of things that you need to get through practicing, then you got to find more time. To be honest, consistency and doing less than that but doing it every day is so much better than trying to cram or trying to play for an arbitrary amount of time, because you think that's going to make you better. Now the FAQs are out of the way, I want to answer all the questions that you posted for me in the poll. I got a bunch of questions from Luna, thank you so much. This is kind of another FAQ actually, because Luna's questions are mostly about how to get started playing the harp if you haven't played the harp before. I get asked this a lot, so hopefully I can give you a comprehensive answer now, and this will be helpful for other people thinking of starting the harp as well. So first of all, Luna asks, is it much more difficult than playing the piano? And the quick answer is no, it's just different. Secondly, does playing a lyre give you an advance when starting? I haven't actually ever played the lyre myself, so maybe. The hand position's probably going to be a bit different because they are actually from 2 different families of instruments. Are there such a thing as mini harps, as harps are so expensive? Yes, there are. So some harps are expensive, concert harps, are pretty expensive. That's an investment, but it's because it's a big instrument, they're handmade, they have a lot of craftsmanship that goes into them. But the good news is there are lots of options that are much more affordable. I highly recommend that you check out Harpsicles by Break Harps. They are lap harps, which means that you can sit and play them on your lap. You can also play them in a harness. They have a smaller range of strings. They're lightweight and portable. You can travel with them. You can play them standing up. And that's a really great option to get started and get to know the harp and see if you like it. I'll leave some links in the description to places where you can start your search for a beginner harp, and I hope that helps. Do you need to take lessons, or can you pick it up from YouTube, etc.? So there are some great courses online if you want to get started that way, but I also recommend that you have some one-to-one time, whether that's with a teacher face-to-face or somebody remotely, so that you can get to grips with all of the technical stuff and the sort of physical aspects of playing the harp, because there's quite a lot of that to get to grips with early on in playing. I will leave some links in the description for you to give you an idea of what online courses and what learning resources are available there too. I've been playing the piano for 9 years and the guitar and the lyre for 2 years. Would I be able to do it? Yeah, absolutely. But if you had never played any instruments before, you could also equally start learning the harp. There's no reason why not. The benefit that you have, having learned a few instruments already, is that you probably know some things about music theory that you can now apply to the harp. And it's the instrument bit that's brand new rather than music as a whole being brand new to you. Finally, will it take a chunk out of your day time-wise? If you're just a beginner, like I said before, practicing consistently is going to be much more important than practicing for a long period of time. 15 minutes to half an hour is going to be absolutely fine just to begin with, but make sure you're practicing every day or most days, and then you can just build it up from there. Your Ocarina of Time album was fantastic. Thank you so much. That really means a lot. If you had to pick another game from The Legend of Zelda or any other game to cover, which would it be and why? If I had to do another soundtrack from the Zelda series, it would be The Wind Waker. The Wind Waker is very dear to me because it was my first ever Zelda game that I played. There's something about the characteristics of the soundtrack that I just have a feeling would adapt really nicely to the harp. And then outside of Zelda, the things I'd like to do, if the time was right, would be the music from Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie, because those games are amazing. Grant Kirkhope, absolute genius. And that would be another opportunity for me to play a bunch of tuned percussion instruments, to get my xylophone out again, maybe borrow a marimba, do that kind of stuff. I would love to have a go at that. Genesis era Sonic the Hedgehog music, because that was a formative part of my musical upbringing, and that music is just so good. And then Undertale. Really memorable themes, really kind of simple melodies, but memorable, kind of gorgeous sounding stuff. Lots of really interesting different sounds that would be an interesting challenge to take up, trying to recreate all of that stuff on the harp. And also I played that game a couple of years ago and it just really, really affected me, as it did a lot of people. You know, it made me laugh, it made me cry. I had a great time playing it, and I would love to play it again, actually. So maybe that's something that I might do in the future, who knows. What inspires you to learn so many different genres? Is it your love of music, or do you just enjoy a good challenge? I do love a good challenge when it comes to adapting things, trying to recreate the sounds of different things on the harp, and just trying to get my hands and my brain around different techniques, how to make different sounds and kind of manipulate sound at the harp to sound like other things. That's a fascination which I think has motivated me to cover all the styles that I have. I'm also just a big fan of a lot of different genres of music, and I've done my best throughout all of my videos on YouTube to represent as many of those styles as possible. What's your favourite food? On the one hand, I want to say I couldn't possibly pick a favourite food because there's so much food in the world and I enjoy a lot of it. But on the other hand, in all honesty, I would never refuse a tiramisu. Hi, I love your channel and music a lot. Thank you, that's really kind. You motivated me every time to practice harp more and to be more productive. Thank you so much. I'm honoured to be able to help you do that, so thank you. I have a question about how you started playing the harp, and if you can say in the next video which practising or practice books do you prefer for beginners. When I was 6, I took a course for kids to learn about all the instruments of the orchestra and how to play them and what kind of stuff they did in the orchestra, and The lady that ran that course was a harpist, and I was just really lucky that she lived quite locally, and so after I took that course I was really keen on the harp, and so she became my teacher, and she was my teacher for about 10 years. As for why I wanted to play the harp, I honestly don't know. I was 6 and that's just what I wanted, and some things don't change. Thinking about beginner harp books, there are tons and tons of great books for beginners out there, but the one that I like using particularly at the moment is this one, which just has lots of great pieces and it builds up learning how to play things one finger at a time, but it gives you fun pieces to play at every level so that you've always got music to make as well as technical stuff to do. Who would be the best composer for an Ocarina of Time movie, and would a live action movie even work? Computer games have notoriously bad crossovers into film. Yes, I'm not going to argue with you on that one. I've seen a few humdingers myself on that front. First off, I think an Ocarina of Time movie would be really problematic because Link is a silent protagonist and he doesn't really say anything. So to make a movie about him, you'd have to build a personality around him in a way that we don't see in the games, and if I was a filmmaker, I don't know that that's a risk I would want to take, because you could go all sorts of different directions with that, but what would fans think the right one was? I don't know. Secondly, I don't know if I would really want to suggest a composer, because I know as a fan I would be disappointed if Koji Kondo's themes didn't make it into an Ocarina of Time movie. So I think whoever it was that did score that film, they would have to incorporate those themes in some way, because I think fans would be disappointed if anything else happened. What is your favourite gaming genre? Generally speaking, I love platformers. I used to really love collectathons. I still like those, stuff like Banjo-Kazooie. I've recently been playing Psychonauts, which is a lot of fun, and I get really obsessed with collecting all the figments. But if I look at my entire gaming history over the last 4 years, the unanimous answer is Metroidvanias. How long have you been a Zelda fan for? A really long time. I first played The Wind Waker, that was my first Zelda game, when I was about 15. My best friend bought it for me just on the off chance that I might like it, and I did. I loved it. And the following year I played Ocarina of Time, and the rest is history. I'm a super fan. Favourite Zelda game and character? Also, do you watch Studio Ghibli? Their music is gorgeous. Yes, it is. One Summer's Day is one of my favourite pieces of music of all time. I actually even once played the Totoro theme for a wedding. There's a clip of that in a compilation video which I posted earlier this year if you want to check it out. My favourite Zelda game is actually Twilight Princess. I am such a fan of the dark tone of that game, and my favourite character is Midna. She's just such a cool character. I love how feisty she is. I love her look, and I love her musical theme. It's so memorable and one of my favourites in the series. Do you play private events and parties? I used to, and then COVID happened, and now I don't anymore. Are you originally from Turkey? No, I'm from the UK, and as far as I know, I have no Turkish relatives. And just to prove that I'm British, here's my tea. And my regulation Whittard of Chelsea Alice in Wonderland teapot. I get this question a lot, and I couldn't really figure out why that was, because usually your surname doesn't kind of define like where you're from. It's just your father's name or your husband's name or a name that you've picked up from somewhere. I looked into this, and Turk is actually an English surname. It comes from Middle English, and it also has origins in German and Dutch language, and a lot of the meanings do derive from somebody who's from Turkey or somebody who looks like they're from Turkey, but for me it's just a name. It's just the name that I was born with. Final question, and the best username award goes to you, Galileo Potato. I love it. Do you think it's possible for one to create a harp that's identical to Sheik's, that could hit all the same notes, to play her themes from Ocarina of Time? So the short answer is no. And the reason why is that Sheik doesn't play the harp. The instrument that you see in Ocarina of Time that Sheik plays is a lyre. And actually lyres and harps, although in some ways they have a similar kind of a look, they are actually from different families of string instruments. In real life, the music that Sheik plays in Ocarina of Time works great on a concert harp, because you have both the range of strings and the ability to alter your notes so that you have all of your flats and naturals and sharps that you need in order to play those themes. I think the decision to make Sheik play a lyre is more of an artistic kind of design choice, because it means that Sheik can play the instrument standing. That probably just fitted in better with what they wanted the character to look like and what they wanted them to do. In terms of the soundtrack, the music is clearly supposed to be a lot more orchestral sounding, and obviously this is the kind of harp that you would see in an orchestra. So I think that makes sense from a musical point of view. Although there's a kind of a disconnect between what you see and what you hear, call it artistic license. I think in the end, it kind of all adds up to something great. So thanks so much everyone for your questions. I hope you enjoyed hearing my answers. If you like what I do here on YouTube, you can like this video, you can subscribe to see more harping and more talking about harping, maybe in the future. If you have any questions that I haven't answered today, you can leave them in the comments and maybe I'll answer them in a future Q&A video sometime. And if you want to keep up with what I'm working on right now, including my brand new original music, which I'm really excited to share with you soon, you can consider supporting me on Patreon. Links in the description. Thanks so much everyone, and I'll see you next time.